Last time on Vintage Geek, we covered the HeadStart Explorer, but I only had time to cover the included software. Today I want to take a look at some of the games and other accessories for the HeadStart Explorer right here on Vintage Geek. Just a reminder, if you like what you see today, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps us a lot as we grow, but one thing that helps us the most is becoming a Vintage Geek member. For just under $20 a year, you can get access to all of our videos commercial-free. You can become a member at vintagegeek.com. So last time we got to cover the HeadStart Explorer, and we looked at some of the basic hardware features and how this machine is put together. It's definitely unique and one of the more unique XT clones that I've ever seen, but I really kind of like this device. With the graphical user interface that came with the ROM BIOS, it really works well, and I think it would have been a great addition to a home back in 1989. I was really curious to see what some of the other software looks like for this, as we only got to cover some of the basics last time. So I'm going to get out the box of discs that came with the system, and we're going to try a few things here on the channel today. First off, I want to try something from the tutorial disc. Now, we went through the animated tutorial last week called Computer Ease, but there's another program on this disc that's called ATI Skill Builder, and I assume this is some kind of a quizzing system, but I definitely want to check that out and see what it's all about. I do like the fact that the discs just come up automatically when you put them in the drive. So we've got the ATI Skill Builder here. Let's go ahead and click that and start this program. Does this text appear in green and yellow? Yes, it does. Nice image of a computer here. American Training International. How to use your HeadStart Explorer system. Before we get started, please type in your first name. The personal computer has become a key tool in both homes and businesses today. In addition to the software that comes with your Explorer, hundreds of other software programs are available to help you with your work. You'll find your confidence increases quickly, I'm ready for that, as you learn how to use your HeadStart Explorer. Looks like you've got a lot of basics here. Let's take a look at how it shows the components of the HeadStart Explorer specifically. I will say the graphics of this are not quite as cool as the Computer Ease, but I see what they're doing here. This is an illustration of your HeadStart Explorer system. It's made up of 7 major components: monitor, computer unit, disk drives, disks, keyboard, printer, and cables. Let's have a closer look at each of these. And there's the monitor shown above. By displaying information on this screen, your computer is able to communicate with you. Interesting that it says there are 2 knobs on the monitor. It's assuming that we have the HeadStart monitor, which we actually don't. We're using an IBM color monitor. Watch the text in the illustration while you turn the contrast knob to the right and to the left. All right, I'm glad it told me to do that. It made it look a lot better. Thank you, tutorial program. Notice the computer unit of your Explorer shown on the left of your screen. This unit contains the main memory of the system, and it's showing you where the disk drive is and where the hard drive slot is. We do not have the AutoMagic hard drive, but if anyone out there has used one of those, please sound off in the comments. Would like to hear about what would have shipped with that originally. We're talking about the keyboard. Looks like this is very comprehensive, showing you all the components of the HeadStart Explorer. I'm not going to go into everything here. Again, this is an example of how they put these tutorials on. It was really a good way for people to get started, especially if they hadn't used a computer at home before, which a lot of people back in 1989 would not have had that experience yet. So kudos to them on putting this together. Let's move on and see what the other software looks like. Next, I want to try the Splash Junior Paint program. Let's see what this is like. Oh wow. All right, so we've got a whole bunch of different functions here at the top. Looks like this is our toolbar of sorts. Everything's on a blue background. We've got different sizes for, I assume, pens and squares and shapes. Then we've got all sorts of different patterns here below. Let's see if there's any samples that are on the disk. Oh, now, you know I love a good floor plan. Let's see what this looks like. I guess this is asking us where we want to import this particular image. It looks great. Look at these cars in the parking lot. You got a nice tree here. Here's the eraser. Let's just take out this wall. Oh, that works, okay. So now I made this a more open room. What if I make a new wall here? Now I'm guessing if I try to fill in anything here, if there's like a paint bucket of some kind, there it is. Let's see what happens if we use this kind of brick pattern. And of course we fill in everything because those doors were open. Is there an undo? Haha. And intuitively, it's a symbol like a no symbol, but I don't know why, I just knew to click there. So I always have to give software developers credit when something just makes sense. Well, let's close in this one since it already has a more straight door going on here. Go back to our paint bucket, see if we can fill in the brick pattern in just this room. Ah, see? Perfect. Now this room is just a brick wall. This looks great though, and honestly, it seems very functional. I continue to be impressed with the HeadStart Explorer, so I wonder what would happen if we actually switched the switch on the back of the system to monochrome instead of color. Would that be an instantaneous change, and would it be compatible with this paint program? Let's give it a shot. I'm assuming that that change must not work in real time. It does not seem to make any difference when the program is actually running. The monitor does not like monochrome. It must be a totally different graphics mode. In addition to the actual factory included discs with the system, our particular HeadStart Explorer came with 3 user-labeled discs. Now one of these is labeled Monopoly, and I'm curious as to what version of Monopoly it is. Leisure Genius presents Monopoly. Copyright 84, 87, and 88. Do you wish to load a previously saved game? No. How many players? Well, I guess 1. It does not like the answer 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2. I'm going to choose the top hat. Vintage. It is not a computer player. The second token will make the car, make that Geek, and we'll make that a computer player. I think the short game would be best. Wonder if they have an option in this to actually knock the table over and spread out all the game pieces on the floor when you get angry at everyone else playing. Enter the time for a short game in hours and minutes. Who's got that kind of time? How about 0 hours and 5 minutes? It's like I'm playing first. This looks great though. The game board looks great, spaces look great. I remember playing this as a kid. I think we had this for maybe the Apple II. They definitely had it on a few different systems at the time. And it did accept my 5-minute timer. In fact, we're already down to 3, so this should be good. Just use the mouse at all? No, it doesn't. How do I do something here? I don't know how to play. There's a menu across the top, but I don't actually know how to get to it. Positions, owners, sequence, wealth, houses, and quit. I don't want the position display anymore. I'm just, come on. I'm going to run out of time trying to figure out how to get to the menu in this game. There. Now I'm going. Ooh, landed on a railroad. How do I buy that? Guess I do wish to buy property, thank you. Well, the 5 minutes is up. I managed to buy a single railroad and the game is a draw. Apparently next time I need to go with the hours instead of minutes option just so I can figure out all of the menus in this game. But the great news is that it does work pretty well. Once I figured out that the shift key could actually get to the menu above, it seemed to make a little bit more sense. I will be coming back to Monopoly at a later date to see if I can beat the computer and take all of the property and get Boardwalk and Park Place. Now we also have the game of Battleship on a hand-labeled disc, so I gotta see what that's like as well. Sync the Bismarck. We got a 1-player game, a 2-player game, change setup, clear stats. Playing speed is normal, color is yes, sound is yes. Let's go with 1-player game. Seek and sync. Ooh, Admiral PC is a computer player, I like that. Nah, we don't need instructions. So we gotta position the boats. Ah, it accepted U, so that must mean that it's up, and maybe there's a different one for, well, that definitely did orient it in the upward direction. It looks like the way this works is you put in the letter and the number of the position on the grid where you want that particular ship, and then you would do the up, down, left, or right, which would be the letter sequence for it, U, D, L, or R, of how you want to orient the boat from that position. I put a carrier at H1, oriented it going up, and then I did one from F4 going down, B4 going right. So now we've got the boats positioned. The PC player, PC Admiral, is picking his. Lowest number goes first. Press any key to start. Yeah, I got a 1, he got an 8, so I get to fire the first shot. Fantastic. Oh, glad to meet you, Vintage. It will be a great pleasure to beat you. Thanks, Admiral PC. So now I'm just picking items on his grid where I think his boats are. I'm gonna say H4. Hit. He missed with B9. It does show where I've gotten a hit, which is super handy. Let's try H5, assuming his boat goes to the right. Nope. He got another miss. So let's try G5. Nice. Oh, now he's got a hit on one of my boats. How about F5? The boat sinking sound is fantastic. How about H3? Nope. I4. G4? Oh no. He sunk my battleship. You'd better man the lifeboats. Thanks. All right, how about F4? Now E4. D4. Ooh, I sunk his carrier. Nice. F8. It's not looking good for me right now. Oh no, now we got my submarine. Let's see, which direction do you think he went? Let's do C3. Nope. Oh no. Now he sunk my carrier. Things are getting dire here. You're shark bait, mate. Yes, I sunk his battleship. We're even now. Just gotta find another boat here. Ah. You got a submarine now. No. Getting really stressful in here. 5. Yes. Yes. Nuts. Vintage, you have demolished all my ships. Woo! 32 points, and I won at Battleship. Ooh, I'm number 1 on the top 5 players list. I'm right ahead of Mark Ginsburg, Admiral PC, and Howard Sugar. So, what a win. This is a banner day, I have to say. Pretty fun. Obviously, it's just a DOS-based game, but plays perfectly well on the HeadStart Explorer, and what a fun little game. I'm glad this disc came with the system, because I don't think we have a copy of this elsewhere, so very cool little Battleship port here on the HeadStart Explorer. And finally, we have a disc labeled Jeopardy, but it's also labeled Jeopardy Menu 1, so I'm not sure if it's the whole game. We haven't played the IBM port of a Jeopardy game yet. We spent quite a bit of time with it on the Coleco Atom, so I'm curious to see what this looks like. Well, there's Menu 1. Maybe that's what you're supposed to run to actually start the game. Oh, it's Share Data. I believe that's the same company that made the version for the Apple II. Oh wow, even has a key change. Nice. I am not. Yes. Perfect. We've got Dickens, Pennies, Begins with I, Chicago, Keynotes, and Filthy Folks. I'm picking Chicago to start with, and for 100. Chicago is the home to the world's first and the world's tallest of these structures. All right, Keith. Well done, sir. I wasn't sure how to buzz in, to be honest. Oh, he's going with Filthy Folks. 500. Who is, so that's 3. How about Keynotes? Do the 100 question for this. Oh. I think that's Keyhole. What is? Keyhole. Nice. How about Pennies? Chicken Little's Confidant. Oh, Henny Penny. Good job, Irene. Way to get in the game. Let's see. Begins with I. Hides March. Pennies for 300. Oh. All right, Keith. Way to jump in there. Hadn't even read the question. Makes sense. A personal peculiarity or mannerism. Idiosync. I spelled it wrong, but it gave me the answer anyway. I like that. Irene's going with Keynotes. During the 19th century, this Florida city was a major cigar-making center. It's got to be Key West. It has key in it. Nice. Closing out the Keynotes. 48 Bogart and Bacall film also started. What is... Filthy Folks. Dick Van Dyke's sooty occupation, no. Chimney sweep. 400. Peanut's character described as carrying soil of Egypt on him. Let's see what Keith has here. Yeah, Pigpen. Magwitch befriends Pip in this novel. Just clean out this category. He's the orphan boy who asked for more. Oh, Oliver Twist. All right, one more question on the board. I'm surprised it makes me pick it. This Dickens character is changed by the visit of 3 spirits. Scrooge. Right, and now it's going to Double Jeopardy, but I do not have time today for Double Jeopardy, but I will say I like this port of the game. Everything looks good, behaves well, and the sound effects are fun, and I'm gonna have to come back here and see if I can beat these computer players in a full round of Jeopardy at some point, but not today. Jeopardy was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed exploring the HeadStart Explorer today. It's a great system. I think it's really impressive for the time. Back in 1989, having one of these in the house would have been kind of ideal. You can do some basic financial work, you can do work with word word processing, and everything's kind of in a convenient graphical environment, and I really like that a lot. I'm glad we have the HeadStart Explorer here in the collection, and I'm glad that you could join us for the video today. Speaking of which, if you liked what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot, but the thing that helps us out the most is when you become a Vintage Geek member. You can do that at the website, and for just under $20 a year, you get access to all of our video content commercial free. It's all at vintagegeek.com, so check that out today. Until next time, I'm Aaron, and this has been Vintage Geek.